Welcome back to another episode of From the Back. We're on to episode number 26, not 25, not 24, 26.
Not
Match number
27.
26. We had an interesting weekend. Things, as I said last week, are continuing to stay tight this week. I don't know. I wouldn't say there's really any upsets per se this week. There were some interesting games. Some of them were kind of duds. I guess, the big game this weekend, which was Chelsea-Man U, ended up being kind of a boring one. But, as always, there's plenty to go through because, as always, we hit them all 20 teams. They're all equal parts of the league. Well, we're going to always hit them all. Make them all equally as important. Michael and Johnson, how'd you guys feel about this weekend's matches?
Some great games this weekend. Some great games this weekend. Teams got some results. Some teams didn't. Move on.
All right, we'll take a quick run through those results. Man City beat West Ham 2-1. West Brom beat Brighton 1-0. Aston Villa over Leeds 1-0. Newcastle and Wolves drew 1-1. Crystal Palace and Fulham drew 0-0. Arsenal beat Leicester 3-1. Tottenham beat Burnley 4-0. Chelsea Man U drew 1-1. Liverpool beat Sheffield 2-0. And Everton beat Southampton 1-0. In terms of league leaders right now, it's goals. Salah with 17, Bruno with 15, Kane with 14. Assists, Kane and KDB with 11, Jack and Bruno with 10, Son with 8. Clean sheets, it's Ederson 15, Martinez 13, and Mendy 11. The table has relatively unchanged from last week. City, United, Leicester, West Ham in the Champions League, Chelsea and Liverpool in the Europa League with Everton, Tottenham, Villa, and Arsenal fighting for that last potential Europa League spot. And down the bottom, Fulham, West Brom, Sheffield, but the race for that last position has tightened. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Not that I want to get there, but we'll get there. But we'll dive right into the first match to talk about this week, which was also the first match of the weekend. Manchester City versus West Ham, 2-1. Diaz and Stones, the apparent best center-back pairing in the world. And Antonio continued his scoring streak for West Ham. How do we feel about this one? Felt like it was a lot closer of a game than I expected it to be.
West Ham actually really put up a fight throughout that game, especially for their defensive capabilities, and then just trying to really counter City, like attacking them down. Jay Lings just runs up down that field, gets on the score sheet once again. Shanked. He was not passing it to Antonio, but
absolutely not. That was possibly the worst shot of all time that he just put like 15 yards left of where he wanted it, and Antonio just happened to be standing there.
I think based on the way West Ham's played, if West Ham missed out on European football, how well West Ham's played all year, I would say I would give up Liverpool's spot for West Ham to be in like Europe, even Europa League football. They just, the way they played all year, they've earned it.
It's a real honorable thing to do.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously you can't, but I mean, no, just by
that, I'm not doing that.
No, but just by the way they played, they've earned the right to be there.
You can take Newcastle's relegation spot.
But no, I think they played, like I said before, I think I said it was 2 or 3 weeks ago maybe. They're just like a team that you watch and you just can tell they all enjoy playing together. They all have bought in to the way David Moyes wants to play, and I mean, he switches the way he wants to play every week, which is, it kind of keeps it entertaining because so one week he'll sit in, the next week he's like, yeah, we're going to go get it. Next week he'll play you even. So, I mean,
he has a plan. I mean, he has like tactical awareness every week of what he wants to do. And I feel like it's one of the things, beginning of the year, we were all saying like relegation is, their prediction. And like, as the year's gone on, we've all kind of, they've grown on all of us. I guess that's a fair way to put it. And, every time I'm like, oh, they're at this level, they're here now. And it's like, they continue to show me, no, they're even higher. Like, they're even at a better level than I thought. Like, better level. Like, going into this game, I was like, they're playing well. If they go in there and get blown out, it's not a big deal because they're still playing well. And, like, they literally went in there and 2-1. I mean, if you look back on their recent games against City, I think they were like 4-0, 5-0 defeats. So the expectation going in was so low, and yet they still came and blew me out of the, like, it blew me away that they still went in there and competed. I mean, City didn't have their first shot until the 30th minute.
To be fair, I think Antonio kind of missed the sitter in the first half.
Yeah, West Ham could have got got points from this game.
I would say it could have easily been a 2-2 draw, 1-1, whatever it was. Like I said, it's just they're impressive, and I mean I have nothing bad to say about them. And honestly, I feel like we haven't had anything bad to say about them for a while now.
No, and I mean, obviously, this is gonna go out later in the week, but City came out again this week, and did the same shit again. One more game, so they're obviously running away with it at this point.
Yeah, I think what we were also discussing, a couple weeks ago about which team this year is the team that's like scoring those late goals to win the game. And it's right now it's City, which looks part. But even on West Ham's behalf, I think this is kind of like the results where you see where a team actually buckles down and like follows the plan. Like even if it's like shit's going awry, like we're still gonna go by this plan if it's gonna work no matter what.
Yeah, they bought in.
Yeah, they bought into the manager's philosophy.
Well, it's something we brought up too, like with Tottenham earlier in the year. We were saying it's working now. Everyone's bought in when they were winning, and the big thing was going to be what happens when they're not winning, because it's a hard system to get people to buy into, and we kind of addressed it in the past couple of weeks. And the same even goes for Arsenal, because I was saying earlier in the year, like last year at the end of the year, everyone in Arsenal looked bought into the system, and it went well. And obviously they won the FA Cup. They got they had success with it. And then this year comes around, and they didn't seem as bought in, and things started to go awry. The only difference is he changed it up, and he fixed it, and at least got them to buy back into a different system. But still, he did have to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, they brought into West Ham. I mean, they brought in like just quietly good players over the offseason in the transfer window. And again, I mean, if you say you saw Lingard coming out doing this, then you're a liar. Like, I think maybe Brandon can be the only person that can say that. But
I mean, all right. I mean, just as much as we shit on him for the past year and all those stats where like he hadn't scored, haven't assisted in X amount of minutes, I feel like you do have to admit, I think maybe like 3 seasons ago, like his prime, maybe he was actually like on fire at one point. Not necessarily,
yeah.
Like not necessarily like, oh, he's like one of the best in the league, but like he actually would get like some goals and some assists.
There was like signs of the talent being there and the potential of like what he could be.
Already.
Yeah.
He's
people thought he was 22 or he was 26.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That is fair. There was definitely signs of it. I guess you never could have predicted that coming off of like 1 goal last year and like maybe like 2 starts all year. Like it props to him. I mean, that's all I can say.
I mean, sometimes you just gotta give a player some time.
Change of scenery.
Give him minutes and I guess see what happens.
Yeah. All right, but we will move on to the Tottenham boys because they had a good week. 4-0 Tottenham over Burnley. Bale scores a brace with Kane and Lucas Moura scoring the other 2. Mike, how'd you feel about this one? Big week for the boys.
It was nice to see someone else other than Harry Kane and Son scoring.
Now, is this just like one-hit wonder Bale, or do you think he keeps it going?
I don't know, because I'd say the second half of the season when he has come into the game, I think we've all noticed, like when Tottenham was playing awfully, he was the only one who was actually like making a change in the game. I just think it helped that Europa League, we had a weaker opponent, but it really built his confidence for him to go out and do it into the actual game. First goal was, I don't know what Pope was doing. I think he was begging for offsides. But that second goal, I screamed.
It was a nice finish. A little touch, curl into the corner, low corner, beautiful. I mean, it's more Bale of like prime Madrid Bale, not Bale of recent years.
Oh yeah, it was. I think it was just the plan kind of just worked for them. I think our problem was Kane was our distributor, so he was the guy who would always check back into the middle and then distribute out wide. But instead, you let him and Son stay up top, and then Bale was the one who would actually come in, collect the ball, and then send it up forward. And now Ndombele is able to sit next to Højbjerg, so he can now have a presence to get the ball forward. So it worked for Burnley. Let's see if it. I mean, next couple games, it's going to be a real test where they need to get results if they want to.
Coming up this
Oh, yeah.
midweek. So you got Palace on the weekend? Yeah.
Palace on the weekend.
The thing I've come to oh, go ahead, John.
No. I was just like reiterated what you guys said about who they were playing.
I was saying the thing I've come to understand about Burnley is the best comparison you can have to Burnley is they're Targaryens. They're a coin flip. Okay, like which Burnley is coming out this week is based on a coin flip. There's the Burnley we saw against Brighton. The one that came out, and they attacked. They moved the ball. They pressed. There's a Burnley that came out against somebody, I can't remember who, the next week and won like 3-0. Did the same thing again. I'm blanking on who they played. It's really bad, but somebody help me.
Was it
might
West
have been
Brom?
Palace.
No, I think it was West
Palace
Brom.
sounds right.
Palace. Oh, Palace. It was Palace.
I
It
think
was Palace.
Yeah. So there's that Burnley.
That's right, Mike's chat. I do my homework.
There's that Burnley. Or there's the Burnley that came out against Tottenham. The Burnley that did absolutely nothing.
That's the Burnley of John's predictions.
Yeah, basically. So to confirm, it was Crystal
Cheated,
Palace.
Mike.
It was 3-0, and then they drew West Brom. So yeah, they're two different Burnleys, and it really depends on which one we see each week. And we saw the crappy Burnley this week. We saw the one that gets shanked by Jon Snow this week.
They're West Ham now. Like what West Ham was at the beginning of the year. When they win a game,
Oh.
tie a game, lose a game. So they're going to unfortunately probably win this midweek thing somehow.
Against Leicester.
Yeah, it's just how it's going to go. There'll be
Bold.
one
I can see it.
win.
All right. You know what? Don't come at the Foxes.
Well, the Foxes, we'll get there.
We'll
Okay.
get there.
Hold my tongue.
We'll get there. Hold your tongue. But yeah, good week for Tottenham. Get things rolling again. We'll see if Bale keeps his form. For any fantasy owners out there, I wouldn't advise it yet. I'm not sold. It's my fantasy advice. But we'll move on to
I'd send it.
another
But I'm in last place, so.
another monkey off the back here. Liverpool 2-0 over Sheffield. Jones and an own goal sends them to 3 points. John, how'd you feel with the boys? The lads.
Curtis Jones played very well.
Yes, he did.
Very well.
Yes, he
I thought
did.
he's played very well, yeah. And I thought the mistake they made was I wouldn't say the down. Obviously, not one play is a reason why we started losing games, but it was no coincidence he came out of the team and we started playing bad. I think he just gives you that extra drive, that kind of like, it's more important.
Youthful exuberance.
It's that, but I think it's more important to him. He's from Liverpool. He is Liverpool, you know. It means more to him wearing that shirt than it does anybody else on the team, besides probably Trent, you know.
I was gonna say, do you think it's like Trent's energy from like maybe 2 years ago, last year type thing?
But I feel like it's almost more because he can impact the game so much more than Trent can on the wing, you know, and like the wing back position, you know, because he's in the middle, so he can press everybody. And I think just like I said, I think he's got a little. Not that Trent doesn't have like the passion or anything like that, but he's just when you hear him talk after games and stuff, talk before games, he just got a little bit more to him than Trent does, like a little more
Leader of
maturity.
men.
Yeah, he just got that like he's gonna be the next like captain. Yeah, I don't want to say that because I mean no, he's gonna be him, but it's got like that blueprint of somebody who could be that.
No, I mean you look at it, it's Stevie G, Steven Gerrard, and then like.
And it's been Hendo.
Legitimately, you need a successor after that, and
Yeah, and
why not?
No, and I thought, like we were talking. When did we talk about it? Sunday, right? The three of us, we was chatting about it. It's like one of them games. Like he's not excited. He's happy for the win, but he's not excited because obviously it's not against the team you should be excited about. I guess would be the way to say it.
It's a win you should have, but it's a win you needed.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. So it's like a weird feeling.
We got over it.
Yeah.
No,
it's like nice, but like, all right, celebrate for a couple seconds, then let's move on in life. Let's go.
It's nothing to write home about, but it's enough to not curl up in a ball and cry. I didn't do that. Not me. I wanted to actually shout out though to I don't know why I say shout out, acknowledge Aaron Ramsdale's performance because
he played fantastic.
He's been getting quite a lot of slack this year for Sheffield. Meanwhile, Sheffield have been playing pretty poorly defensively this year compared to last year, and all the comparisons have obviously been Henderson last year, Ramsdale this year.
It's not that.
He literally kept them in the game for 45 minutes.
He does that every game. It's not him. It's the defense. It's the constant giving up 30 shots a game. There's
And
only
when you're
so many
scoring
fucking
one
things you
goal
can-
every 3
Yeah.
games, what is he supposed to do?
It's not him. He's gonna. No, if whoever stays up, if you don't have a solid keeper, bring him in.
Tottenham.
Nah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could be a backup at Tottenham, learn under
Sounds
your Reese or something for a little bit, if they couldn't get anybody else. But
Tottenham were going for Pope for a bag of crisps and a beer. That's all Sean Dyke
Everton?
wants.
Everton, Southampton could take him if they
no,
stay
that's what I
up.
mean. Those are the teams you're looking at. That's somewhere he could go, and I think he could play very well.
Even West Ham.
Or even if you're a team that's coming up and you don't really have a goal, I don't know what
Yeah.
Norwich's situation is. I don't know what Brentford's situation, Swansea, Reading.
I'd say
Which has
Brentford's
Tim
probably the best.
Krul.
Brentford's in the best situation with Raya. Norwich have Krul, and they had a loanee last year. I think it was Farman. So they could probably use him. Swansea have fucking Newcastle's goalie, Woodward. I'm blanking on his name, but he's got the most clean sheets in the league right now. If you ever need a goalie, come to Newcastle. Apparently, we can produce those, but no goals.
Yeah,
but
but I mean, there's plenty
definitely
of options.
There's a market for him. I'll put it like
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, even look like Leeds.
I was thinking that too, actually. But I think with Melier there, they're probably going to stick with him. He's only 19, 20.
Yeah.
I think Ramsdale's only 21.
Like I said, I think West Ham could be a good fit for him. They got a lot of old
Yeah.
goalkeepers. I think they're all 30 plus, so bring him in as a backup. Playing
Mhm.
under Fabianski. You got some potential there, West Ham. That is if you haven't dropped the bank on Lingard by then. But we'll move on to the heartbreaker. Leicester City 1, Arsenal 3. Gotcha. You didn't know where I was going with that, did you, Mike? Tielemans scored 6 minutes in, and then David Luiz, Lacazette, and Pepe all scored for Arsenal. First, I need to acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is the elephant-sized list of injuries for Leicester right now. Harvey Barnes went off, as well as Johnny Evans in this one, to add to the ever-growing list of Wesley Fofana's out, Dennis Pratt, Perez, Madison.
Forgot about Fofana.
I'm blanking out the people right now.
Just anybody
Barnes
in a
is
blue
out,
shirt.
Evans
Is
is
Castagna
out.
out?
Castagna's in. Oh, James Justin's out for fucking 9 months. It is rough right now for Leicester.
It's like
That
last year,
being said,
all over again.
I have a comment for Brendan Rodgers. You have a youth player in Thomas playing left back, where Castagna played to start the year at left back. Pereira is back healthy, so you could put him at right back, Castagna at left back, and your pairing could have been Evans with Siunchu. You still have Senzugu Under on the bench. You're putting a right back at right mid / right wing instead of Under, who's a natural right winger, who, by the way, multiple times this season has come on and changed the game and got you vital points. What is going on? What are we doing?
He must be pretty lazy in practice.
The chance.
I'm gonna let that slide because I don't know. Really don't.
But
But I'm gonna let it slide because if he doesn't start this week, I'm sending Brendan Rodgers a direct message on Instagram. I don't know if he's on there, but we'll send it to Leicester.
it's starting to turn into deja vu for them, though.
No, it really is.
This could be what happened last year all over again and just fall out. I mean, I know it'd be a sizable drop. I mean, 5-6 points at this point, still sizable, but I mean, I don't know. I just kind of got that feeling again. The injury list is going up. God forbid something happens to Jamie Vardy this weekend.
Why would you say it?
Because it
say
just
that?
had to be
They're
said.
playing Burnley midweek. That's a bruising game against
Yeah,
Tarkowski
no, that's what I
and
mean.
me. Oh God.
It's just there's a
Take it
lot
in.
going on for them right now, and I don't know. I guess but onto the game. I thought Arsenal obviously didn't start the game great, but they decided, we'll just give them a taste of victory and then we'll come back and steal it away. And so, I mean, good on them.
William
They
played the
got-
best game of the year. And by
Yeah, it
that, I mean he
was-
played.
Yeah, I was gonna say, besides the first game, I think the first game of the year he played decent.
Yeah, he had 2 assists or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, he finally showed up and I was like, you know what? This seems like a good time to shine.
To note, Smith Rowe did go off with an injury, but doesn't matter when you have the Odegaard on backup. Mans is ready to play always. Thought he came on and played fine.
I think he's played fine most times he's been on the field. I think it's just like you said, Smith. It was just almost like Smith Rowe heard the rumblings of him coming. He was like, you know what? I'll stop playing. I got us.
You want a different center mid? Nah, I'll play until he's here. No worries,
Yeah.
coach. The only thing I will say, Odegaard, I think he needs to catch up to the game a little bit. He at times looks a little slow on the ball, like he wants
Yeah.
more time, but he's not going to get that time here. And he got caught on it a couple times, but that's just getting up to pace
Adjustments.
where you're
Yeah.
playing. It's not his overall play. I'm not gonna make the comparison, but Havertz came in and just hasn't looked good, hasn't looked
Yeah.
on the ball,
Up to
sharp,
pace.
that sort of thing, up to pace, sharp. It would be one thing if he was just he looks sharp, he was making the right plays, he's just not up to pace with the game. That's not what it looks like with Havertz. With Odegaard, that's what it does look like. He looks sharp, he's making the right plays. It's just he needs to get up to speed. I mean, that's my take, obviously.
Yeah. But that comes with game time.
Yeah.
Training is not as intense as the game, so training you go through the motions. He's gonna think he has the time, but in the game it's much different. So I don't think not playing it was the ideal way to make that better.
No.
I think you just keep riding out with him. And like I said, you get results, you get wins, and he's like I said, he looks good.
Yeah, I think he also he pops up in the box a lot. I think in quality positions. So I mean, he has had a couple where I was like, "Ooh, could you have done better?" But overall, I feel like once he gets that first one, he's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's just he's doing a lot that's not showing up on score sheets, which I feel like is you talked about it with Liverpool fans on Twitter, but I think just in general, Premier League and football fans on Twitter are just kind of annoying. Where it's very much, oh, look at these stats. He doesn't show up on any of these, but it's if you watch the game, you can see what he's doing. It's just he's not going to always show up on the stat sheet, which is true for a lot of players. I'm not just saying, this is just obviously we're talking about them, so he's just one that comes to mind.
For example, Toni Kroos.
Never ever say anything bad about Toni Kroos in my presence. That is my only warning.
That's one.
No, I mean, fuck Arsenal, but props to them. I think it benefited them for getting their win in the round of 32 in the Europa League, and then Leicester probably a shot of confidence after getting knocked out. It affected them in going into the weekend.
The crazy thing was when we were making our predictions for this, I looked at it, saw Arsenal won and Leicester lost, and in my head was I don't like Leicester in this game because they just lost, and they just tend to ride the roller coaster wave, and then I picked Leicester to win the game. So, listen to me, but don't listen to me. Do as I say, not as I do. But no, I mean,
they just look completely off pace, everything Leicester.
They came out and they looked all right, and then all of a sudden they would just seem like cement got in their boots, and they're yeah, no.
It seemed almost like Arsenal got into the game.
Yeah.
You go back to the week before with Man City. Arsenal wasn't there to start. They let up their goal, and then they finally got into the game. It seems like about the first 15 minutes they don't start well, and that's what happened here. Leicester looked really good. Arsenal got into the game. Suddenly Leicester fell off, and I think a lot of that has to do with again the injuries and the players personnel available. And then obviously once Barnes went off, I mean, I feel like their offense just completely stopped. I mean, there was still some stuff there, but I think because they have other people like Madison and Vardy, you don't realize how well Barnes plays, and he actually does carry the ball very well for them up the pitch.
Yeah, and there's a lot of transfer rumors about him right now too.
So people are trying to tear the club apart.
Well, that's a usual thing. I'm sure they have some other players somewhere that they're ready to bring in or something. I don't know. My question is if you're Leicester, at what point do you stop doing that and actually try to build a championship team?
Or Champions League
team? I mean, they already won the championship, so I mean, I guess they're just doing.
Yeah, I know, but
what they've been doing.
You don't have any inspiration to do it again, or I don't know.
They're trying. It's just everyone's getting hurt. I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was gonna say my question is gonna be if say Leicester fall out of the top 4 again, maybe they finish like 6th or whatever, maybe 6, 7, whatever. Say they just fall out.
hmm
Do you think that puts Brandon Rodgers on a hot seat, or do you think he gets bailed out due to injuries,
I think it gets bailed out.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think
even if it's 2 years in a row?
if you take out the injuries and he does it, even if you cut the injuries in like half and he does it, I think he doesn't have an excuse. But the reality is, like last year he had major injuries. This year he has major injuries again, and it's just such a long and like weird season too. I don't know. It's tough. Just like
But would you, if they fire, like if you get to the end of the season, they fire him, right? Because of that, they're like, they come out and say, "Oh, hey, we just wasn't performing the way we wanted to, even without the guys that we had, and we still had quality players, and we're not performing." Do you think people would be upset, or do you think people would be like, "Yeah, no, that's how it is"? You know what I mean? If it was your club firing him
I think there
for
would be
that reason,
justification for it,
it'd just
but
be harsh.
I think it's equally as justified to keep him on. And because like even though they didn't get the European spot, they've still fought for it 2 years in a row. So it's like they're on the cusp of being there. They just need something else. And again, they haven't fallen out this year, so there's still a chance. I mean, Madison's supposed to be back in I think mid-March. I think Barnes is supposed to be back end of March, which is 2 key players there. And so like there's obviously still a chance they bring everybody back and they're fine. It's just more I don't know. I guess it just depends on what happens. We'll see. I mean, because if you're fighting for these spots every year, you're there. You just need that little bit more. And again, we've talked about it that we think it's a backup striker. It's like maybe that's what you need, another striker. Maybe it's another winger because in reality, that right wing hasn't worked out yet this year, even though you have a great winger. But I already talked about that. So it's like, maybe you give one more season after that if they follow it again. And, if you bring in a right winger and you bring in another striker, and you actually keep the players you have. Like that's the other thing. He's losing players every year too, right? So he lost McGuire, he lost Chilwell. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone, but there's like loss there. There's injury. Give him another season to reload and see what happens.
Yeah,
that's my take.
I agree with that take.
Okay, I didn't know if you had anything to add.
It's like tough question.
All right, moving on to the actual heartbreaker. Newcastle Wolves. There it is. 1-1. Lascelles scores for Newcastle. Neves scores for Wolves. I mean,
what are your thoughts on this, Shane?
I think it was a fair result, all things considered. I think Newcastle played very well going forward, surprisingly, considering we didn't have Mr. Wilson. But, I think in the second half, Wolves have shown they can turn it on and do what needs to be done, and which they did. I mean, they were able to go out there, score their goal. I don't know. Like there was massive plays in this. Dubravka made an unreal save off the line with his shoulder late on, and Saiz cleared one off the line. I forget who shot it. But I mean,
I think it was Jolinton.
It probably was, to be honest. I don't think he played horrible.
In.
He actually climbed for a header. So small steps, people. He didn't win the header. He climbed. And then at other times, he end of the game. It's 1-1. Ball comes up to him. He has the option, or he has the chance to play like Frazier in behind, and he tries to dribble it out, loses the ball on a turnover in our own half with 1-1, like 5 minutes left. Like, you got to be kidding me. There's like no winning with this guy. That all being said, we lost St. Maximin and Almiron in this match, and they're both out until April. In the middle of a relegation fight, we have now lost our front three with Fulham right on our asses. So it's kind of weird. We go from I was talking about Leicester injuries, that sort of thing, to this now. I don't think Steve Bruce gets bailed out by these injuries because this is something that's been talked about. The threat of relegation and the issues in the team have been talked about far before these injuries were an issue. This is more something that's been building, and now we're in this situation because of that.
To be fair, St. Maximin's only played like 4 games all year.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So that doesn't really, not that it is a big deal that he got hurt, but I mean, not that it's not something you guys aren't used to. It's more the Callum Wilson and now Almiron.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I said, it's everyone's gonna look at like, oh, we have injuries, or the pundits who don't know anything, who think I'm asking too much of my club not to get relegated. They're gonna use that as excuse. Oh, he has injuries, he has this, he has that. But it's like I said, this has been something that's happened from week 1 till now. That's been an issue with Steve Bruce, that he doesn't know what he's doing. He's literally statistically the worst manager to have ever managed in the Premier League for over like a certain amount of games. I forget how many it is, but still doesn't make any difference to me. He's not good enough. He's never been good enough. I've said it all year. We had someone like Rafa in here. You got rid of him because you wanted to spend money and you didn't want to, and then went and spent $100 million plus on Steve Bruce.
Uh,
And
That's his salary?
No, I mean that's how much he spent on
like
players.
on players.
Oh,
Like I think Benitez made like a profit on players through his transactions, and Steve Bruce spent like over 100 and something million on players. Like it did whatever. It's stupid,
Right.
but then you add in this is something I heard in a video today that I was watching is, so I knew that there's rumblings still of that the takeover may end up happening still, or it's still
Yeah.
in the works. It's still being
Don't give yourself
fought
that,
over.
please.
you're gonna get yourself hurt, Shane. You're gonna
No,
get
I'm not
yourself hurt.
expecting it, but I'm just saying this is just what I'm hearing. Like it's still being addressed in court. There's still a lot more going on behind the scenes.
Shane's got all the financials on his other screen.
I do. I know. Right here, guys. I know what's happening. I know how many dollars every Newcastle fan needs to donate to get the club. No.
$3. Seriously.
Speaking financially, it's $10. Speaking financially, imagine you have an asset, Michael.
I'm listening.
You have an asset. Right now,
Yeah.
it's worth $350.
Okay.
Right? As long as you keep that asset in the condition it's in. Doesn't have to get any better. Doesn't have to get any worse. Keep it in this
Almost.
condition it is. So you decide to go to the shittiest bank you know.
Mhm.
Say, take care of this asset for me. The bank doesn't have locks on its doors. Doesn't have a safe.
Delicious.
Doesn't have tellers. It's literally just like a
Sounds like
fold-out
my house.
table in the middle of a warehouse. And you say, hold on to this for me. Keep it as is. Do you think that the value of that object is going to say 350, or do you think someone's going to take that, or destroy it, or something's going to happen to it?
I mean, if Batman's
Well,
regarding it,
how well do I know this man?
You just know that in the past, people have broken into this bank and destroyed stuff, but you still gave to it
So
anyways.
Joe, I'm trusting Joe to take care of my prized possessions. Yeah, we're screwed.
Basically, it's a weird way to put it, but
I'm
what
going
Mike
to assume he's
Ashley-
going to take care of my money.
what Mike Ashley did is said, here's my asset of $350 million of Newcastle that he's been talking about willing to sell for a while now. Said, let me get Steve Bruce, who's worth nothing, who's shit, who's literally the worst manager of all time in football in the Premier League. Take over my asset. That is currently up for sale and in the midst of a sale. Don't fuck it up. Because the second we get relegated, the worth of the team, the worth of the club itself is going to cut in half. Because you decided to bring Steve Bruce on board for cheap money. Just saying. Great businessman.
Do you think he'd
Great
still sell it?
businessman.
If you guys got relegated, do you think he'll still hold out?
He wants to sell it. Like he was ready to sell it to the Saudis. It just didn't happen because the Premier League blocked it, which is why there was all the uproar, from Newcastle fans.
Mhm.
I still think he'll sell it. I just think you're gonna have to sell it significantly lower, and it's because of how stupidly you managed it. Because you don't know how to manage a football club. You don't know how to own one. You don't know what you're doing. So you fucked yourself over. Just saying. Something
Cheers to
think about.
that.
Ashley out, baby. Ashley out. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to add to the game. I don't know if you guys had any other comments on it. Actually, the only thing I wanted to say was I didn't realize Wolves were in great form. I swear to God, like 2 weeks ago, we were talking about how shit they've been, and apparently they hadn't lost in like 6 matches when Newcastle played them. So
They've been getting draws mostly. Or
yeah, I just
They've-
didn't I don't know. I guess I didn't realize it.
I mean, I think because when you watch Wolves, sometimes it's not like they necessarily dominate a game. They'll get like their one goal and then like that's all they need, or they'll get the 1-1
noticed-
draw.
They're perfectly content with doing nothing for the first half. And then the second half, they're like, here we come. And then it's like 10 minutes, and then it's over.
Are you ready for this?
All right, it's over. That's like it's 10 minutes, and then it's over. But I have noticed that. Didn't work out too well this week. Just saying. Teaser. But we'll move on to, I guess, the most controversial one of the week, which was West Brom Brighton. 1-0. Bartley scored in the 11th minute. No surprise there, because none of their strikers could score, apparently. Biggest... Is this one that they missed, like, 4
Yes.
chances? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I was making sure I had it right here. I took my notes, but I wasn't sure if they were right. Brighton missed 2 penalties. And the bigger moment was Lewis Dunk decides to take a quick free kick. Not even quick, I would say. Lee Mason blew his whistle. Lewis Dunk took the free kick immediately. In the middle of him shooting it, Lee Mason blows his whistle again. Calls it no goal. Calls it a goal.
Calls it a goal.
And they call it no goal. And I don't remember why, but he said for some reason he blew the whistle because... Oh, no, that's what... He said, I blew the whistle a second time because of where John Stone was standing in the net. Or something like that. What the fuck?
I think that was I think this is one of those moments where referees need to be interviewed and explain what was going on. What were they thinking?
Run through your head.
Because he messed up. You see the whistle in his mouth. He blew the whistle, and then he immediately blew it again after he already kicked it, and they scored a goal. But that's the thing, they gave the goal, VAR ruled it a goal, and then they checked it again. It's like, all right, you know what? It's gonna be a no goal. No, it's not right. Brighton, you didn't play magnificent football to score a goal, so we're not gonna give this to you.
There was no passes. Yeah. Potter was like, Lee, call it off. Lee, call it off. No passes.
See, no, that's the thing. When I was watching, the commentators when Lee Mason went over to explain to Potter and Allardyce, Potter didn't see the commentators like Potter. Oh, look at his Potter. He looks like astounded, like
He didn't look
upset
worried at all.
He's just like,
he was like, thank fuck.
It's like,
I didn't want to
all
score
right.
anyways.
I didn't
Graham
want
Potter's
it.
definitely sitting
I
there.
didn't
He's like,
want it that way.
if this counts, my whole system is fucking stupid.
They're not gonna believe me.
He's
They're
like,
not gonna,
my
they're not gonna
years,
buy the...
my years of perfecting this gone down the drain. That's why I think they stopped. If you notice, for a while, they were just like going for goals. Like, you know what I mean? Like Welbeck scored in that breakaway from like half field or midfield. They were just scoring kind of like, greasy goals. And then I think Graham Potter was like, shit, I've spent all these years managing to perfect this system. I'm going to let this Brighton squad fuck it up? No. Not on my watch. And so he made him go back to the other way. Now they're losing games again.
Well, yeah, that's what happens when you miss 2 PKs. Not even you hit the post both times. I don't know what Gross was doing. Gross. Like he was trying to go bar tit. Don't know why on a PK. You go middle top.
It's for the ladies.
That was just bad.
Yeah, it was poor. I mean, their finishing in general was just horrendous again. It happens every week. This is just like, they have like 1 goal on like 50-something shot attempts in the last 3 matches. It's obnoxious.
Well, so the thing is with also West Brom, like they're almost, even though how shit their defense is, going forward, they've always, I'm not gonna say they don't have a problem, because they do have a problem, because it doesn't happen all the time. But like, if you give them the first goal, good luck.
Oh, because they can defend. They just
Even though
pack men back, and they'll counter.
They have the most, I think it was 55 goals they've let up.
But I think they've let up the first goal in most games.
Yeah.
Which is the issue. Like you were saying, like if they score the first goal, it's a very different game. But if they let up the first goal, they're just like, defense, never heard of it.
I mean, I thought, Lee Mason was probably fearing for his life. He had 22 grown men coming at him.
Apparently, if you read the report, he suffered a calf strain.
episode.
So he can't ref this. He can't ref this weekend because he suffered a calf strain running for his life.
Not running in the game, running for his life.
Like after the match, he was chased down by Graham Potter on his broom. And he's like, oh fuck. He's like, oh my calf. So he's out. In case you're up to date on, referee injury reports. There you go. But oh god,
This is a result for West Brom that they're still going to get relegated, but there are disproving my
19th
prediction
place Sheffield.
of 19th place Sheffield. Yeah, exactly.
Sheffield's in last place, and I don't know that they're ever moving out of it.
Well, they're 6 points off. Can they do it?
No.
I don't
They have
know.
11 points in the first 26 games.
Form is form.
They don't have any.
They have losing form. Form.
If they don't
is
have any
form.
form, do they have form?
Then what is form? Without form.
If not
Form.
consistency, persevering.
Cheers to that.
All right, we will move on to the snoozer of the weekend that was built up to be something great, which I don't know why any of us believed it. Chelsea versus Man U 0-0.
So, what I saw here was the thing is, so it was on NBC Sports.
Yep.
And the broadcast was down. So what did they do? They took the recording that happened in the first half of the season, and they played that instead. Just painted the seats in the background, made
Okay.
it appear like
They were at Stamford
they
Bridge.
were at Stamford Bridge, and they played that game instead.
Did they?
Yeah.
Much. That's what I felt.
Interesting. Is that proven?
I mean, I'm sure you can watch a game side by side, and it's pretty close.
I've had voices tell me so.
All right, I believe it. Drop your source below. Should we talk about the handball? That didn't get called.
That was weird. I didn't.
It was
like
up
a
in the air.
handball, but it was not a handball. I guess I don't know.
It was like one of those things. He looked like he was going in to like grab
His
who was it,
shoulder, and then
Greenwood?
it hit his
Yeah.
hand.
Greenwood. Yeah, exactly. That's what it looked like. But it's like
Yeah.
it seemed definitely more of a handball than some ones we've seen called handballs.
Yeah. But I mean, that's
Yeah.
been all year. Ever
It's
since
like
they
he was
changed
like
the rule.
holding the ball.
Ever since they changed the rule, though, like now we don't give handballs anymore. So I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, I feel like you could say that it might not have been given because if it didn't hit his hand, it was going to hit Mason Greenwood's
Just
hand.
score a goal in open play, and there's no issues.
There's that too.
They don't know how to do that.
Bruno
Getting
Fernandes
across into the
looks
box. They didn't
not so
want it.
well neither.
Well, I was
putting
just
it
going to bring
kindly.
that up. You sent it to us. Chelsea and Man U have the worst records against the top six or the big six this year.
Especially Man U.
Man U has like
They both have, I think,
0-0
6 points.
draws.
I think they both have 6 points so far.
0-0 draws. I forget what it is. It's something.
I mean,
like
just
I mean,
for-
either. I don't know,
Even for Man U, they're in second. They got the points that they were given. They were grinding out wins against the teams where the other teams were dropping points. So it counts where it's at, but they got there somehow. But when it comes time, like I said, against these big six, they're not doing anything. They're doing the sit back and trying to attack. They're doing it the Tottenham way. It only works for us, right? Don't try to.
Huh? Does it work?
Does it work for you?
Because I'm looking at the table and it says 7th.
Mike's like, it's
Sorry,
not 8th. Oh, it's not 9th.
Could be 8th, 8th, 7th. It works sometimes, but not for Man U. They were so upset about it watching with Mourinho, and they were like, "Shit, it kind of worked though with him. So now let Ollie try it." It's not
Hey,
working well
Ollie.
with him.
I mean, but like I was saying, on the other side too, it's like I don't know. Chelsea, we've said it multiple times, and I mean, it's kind of stayed consistent. Is that like I'm not Tommy Tux just doesn't do it for me still. It's just like I don't know. It doesn't seem like creative football. It's like get the ball at the pitch and then cross it into one of your outside backs.
Well, I mean, if you told me that, I don't know. I mean, Maybe Chelsea fans can see it differently, but if you told me that they got a new coach, I don't think I could tell you that
Oh yeah,
because it's Chelsea. They're going to possess it. They're going to pass it back and forth the whole time. But the thing is, I feel like the difference with Chelsea and with Tommy Tuch's and
Frank.
Mason's dad is that
Mr. Mount.
Mr. Mount, Mr. Mount would actually, I'd say, create chances. I feel like Tommy Tuch's isn't necessarily attacking when I watch.
He wants to possess.
Yeah, I just feel you would see Mr. Mount say, "We're gonna get the ball in there no matter what." Tommy Tuch's is kind of like, "All right, we're gonna have the ball the entire game, maybe get a couple chances to go."
My other problem with him is the turnover in the lineup. Like he can't find a consistent outside back pairing that he wants. It's been like Chilwell, Reece James, Hudson Odoi, Alonso rotating in there. Even like the two that sit behind the striker. I mean, it was Giroud, it was Abraham, and then Werner's been probably the most consistent. But even here, it was Ziyech and Mount. Like he's just too much rotation. You have consistency in the lineup,
Mm-hmm.
and I just feel like he doesn't have any.
Well, I mean, it was working for him when it was the Jorginho and Kovacic. Like they were actually getting results, whether it came up against now a big team. I mean,
that's the thing. It's like it was working, and then you just you went away from it. Like Alonso was probably, at least when he was in charge, was like his best outside back, and he switched it to Chilwell. Like you said, Jorginho and Kovacic was probably getting their best results, and he went to Conte and Kovacic. Well, in the bigger game, why did you just change everything that was working for you?
Yeah, I think it also just hurts to see. I feel I don't know. Maybe I was gonna get to that, but is Ziyech a Premier League player? Is he a person who needs like time? Maybe like just get used to a year to get used to the pace and stuff like that. Like Ndombele or
no, he's a winger, but when you don't play like wingers, you play wing backs. It pushes him to the middle where he's uncomfortable.
I was gonna say
he wants to be on the wing.
That system isn't him. But like if you saw him when he played well for Frank when things were going well, like he was probably the best player.
Then he's on the wing.
Passes, he was scoring goals, and it was on that right wing.
He's like a player that would play in like a front three.
Yeah,
it's just like if you don't utilize your players right, then yeah, they're gonna look like shit. I mean, I think you could make that case for Havertz too. Like he's just about moved around every time he played and never got comfortable in a position. Again, I think there's still more to him than that, but just in general.
Yeah, Havertz under Tommy Tuch's has been much better than under Mr. Mount.
Didn't take much for that.
Not since that first game where I think like the first game that he
in that
came in
one
control.
game.
That game,
I saw more than I ever saw under Mr. Mount.
But also, from Christian, Tommy Tuch's, whether you have this sort of angrily hate vendetta towards Christian, I need you to get your act together. You're harming his potential and you're harming his confidence.
Hear me out.
Yeah, I'm listening.
The Germans.
Yep.
They obviously won the World Cup, not this last time, the time before.
Yep.
They're trying to come back, right? And they're looking over across the sea. They see this U.S. powerhouse that's being built. And they say, not again. Okay? It happened in World War II. Not again. And so they send Tommy Tuch's into Chelsea and they say, take out the star boy.
Demolish him.
Crush him.
Star boy's in Dortmund, though.
That's what they don't realize. The U.S. has better plans than that. We had a star boy in Dortmund. We got one ripping it up in Turin.
Pulisic just the casualty.
Yeah. All right. He's the golden goose. He's the one you look at. There's a golden tiger hiding underneath that goose, okay? You don't get to go to him. You don't touch him.
But yeah, I think if this is going to be the same system that goes through, I think Pulisic needs to leave.
Agreed.
They don't play wingers. The wingers. Him and Ziyech, the wingers. If you don't play wingers, he's not going to work. You need to go to a team that plays wingers. And that's simple as that.
Newcastle.
Go back to, play a 4-3-3 at fucking Newcastle. Take them both.
Or Everton.
I don't want him to go Everton.
No,
I'm just saying, wingers. They
no,
need
I know,
wingers.
but I'm just saying, like,
Just giving you options, all right? Don't come at me.
no, I'm just saying, like, they
God.
need wingers.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Yep.
Actually, Leicester don't need a left winger. Hold on. Let me keep looking. Talk.
Hi.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know. In the
I
Premier
mean,
League,
he can
it's-
play right wing. Pulisic can play right wing. That's where he first started playing at
All
Dortmund.
right, Leicester then. Leicester. Arsenal could use him actually. To be fair,
I was
they
gonna say
really don't have a
Arsenal.
good winger set up yet. Good options. I'm not saying it has to be in the Premier League either. Like, if you have to go back to Germany, go back to Germany. Like, they know how to
Which you
develop
must.
people there.
Pulisic to Gladbach.
Just go back to
Wouldn't be against
Dortmund.
it. Wouldn't be against it. But we'll move on to the other American. Crystal Palace, Fulham, 0-0. This was Fulham's chance to really turn up the heat in the kitchen. And yet again, they couldn't finish.
They'll show up Thursday.
I don't have to talk about that.
Finishing wasn't great. On the Crystal Palace side, I don't really think they did much at all. They said,
They had 0 shots.
bend on over and get on the ass. No Zaha, no fun. That's kind of been the theme. But on the Fulham side, obviously, it's been consistent this year. They've dominated the game. They've dominated the ball, and just finishing's been an issue. It's been better finishing than Brighton, but just not good enough defensively at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Josh Magi, I think he still
Maja?
plays well. I think he creates good chances. Like, he had one where he got on the end of a header in the box that was just a really nice save from Guaita, and then the other one, he just like created a little space, like a yard of space for himself in the box, tried to curl it low corner. It just missed the net by like a foot. So he's creating for them, and I think he is good for them. It's just they need to finish these chances because I don't know how many games they've drawn this year, but it's obnoxious. Let me try to get an actual number on
7.
it. 11.
I was gonna say 8.
11.
How many
4
wins?
wins, 11 draws.
Oh.
They've beat West Brom, Leicester, Everton, and Sheffield. Not great, Bob. But the points are there. They're there. Like, it's like looking at Sheffield with Sheffield. You know, they lose all these games 1-0. Like, Fulham draw all these games. It's 1 point. They're 1 goal away from winning these games. Like,
1
it's
goal away
good.
from being in freaking top 4.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so it's just finishing, and I'm at the point where I don't see how Newcastle stays up over Fulham right now. If it's between them two only, obviously Brighton's in the mix too, but just the way Fulham's playing versus the way Newcastle's playing, like they have a manager who's young, who tactically sets up well, and is like passionate about his team, and on top of that, they had an owner who was willing to do what needed to be done to help the club, which was something that got addressed in like the first month when he said, "We're not playing enough.
Use
We're
them.
playing terrible defensively. I need to be better and start bringing in these players." And they brought in center backs that have changed them completely.
Well, for Fulham's position, so I was listening to a Tottenham podcast that brought in a Fulham podcast, and this Fulham
work?
supporter. It was just for like the upcoming game, like who they were
Don't
going
make
to
no
be playing against.
fans.
All right.
And this Fulham supporter has said, yeah, they, like you said, they've been close. They keep drawing. They get so close to score a goal. All they need to do is stay 3 points from Newcastle up until the last game of the season, and then hopefully their goal differential will keep them up.
I gotta check this. No, this is wrong. Never mind. Keep going.
That's all I had to say. Were you listening?
That's true.
Shit. No, I heard what you said. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, if it gets that close, it's gonna
He
be a
didn't
problem.
want to hear what you said.
No, I really
10,000
didn't, because I
Fulham
know it's gonna hurt
fanatics
me.
in that stadium on the last day. Newcastle walking in. God only knows who they have with Bruce. My God.
Don't do this.
Steve Bruce isn't even going to be standing on the pitch.
He's
All
gonna
right,
be
you
like,
guys
"Yeah,
go out. I'm in the locker room.
I'll be in the scaffolding." Oh, it's awful.
Apologies. I was checking my stats and I had them wrong.
How dare you?
I don't expect this of myself.
But moving on to the next game. Aston Villa leads. Aston Villa 1, Leeds 0.
That was
Snorefest.
the game.
Because it's right here, Shane.
There's 2 games left though.
Southampton,
Moving on.
Everton.
Yeah, it is.
That was even more of a snowfest. Combine them
Leeds.
together, nothing happened.
Well, let's go. Leeds, Aston Villa.
It is
some
Leeds,
reason-
Aston Villa, yeah, and El Ghazi scored the goal. Go ahead.
Yes.
Keep talking.
For some reason, Leeds.
Can't score when they
No,
have to
I wasn't.
break down a team.
Well, I'll tell you why they do that. So
Tell me, Daddy.
Leeds United, it's a football club in Leeds, England. For some reason, I'm not sure if football is their sport that they want to participate in. They like things
Track and
wet,
field.
watery, or swimming. They should go for swimming. Of how everyone's slipping and sliding all over that field.
Yeah, I don't think they wear the proper footage attire.
I mean, everyone who goes there is falling.
Have you seen that pitch? Belgium Park is nice though.
It is, and it's shit. But I think the only thing to for Aston Villa, I guess, no Jack. That's fine. Just gonna give the ball to El Ghazi and have him do everything. And
It was a
then
boring game. I watched like 10 minutes of it and I gave up. I was like, I can't do this. Can't do this to my eyes.
well, I saw that Llorente on
freaking-
Leeds tried to be his own version of Neymar.
That was the
Gets
most
a-
disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I threw up in my mouth. I hated every second of that. He literally dove to the ground, and was
rolling.
rolling around, and then leapt back up. The second I forget somebody came over and said something to him. He's like,
Watkins the one who fouled him, and Watkins was like, "I'm not having this shit. Get up."
like credit, yeah, that was the stupidest thing first. Even the announcer's like, "Oh, he's made a miraculous recovery." I'm like, yeah,
Oh, shit.
it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I was so mad when I saw that. I was livid.
But props to Aston Villa. They still have 2 games in hand, and they got that result.
Is it 2 or 1?
2. They still have 2.
They have 2.
Is it?
All right, moving on to the final match of the weekend, as John already spoiled it. Everton versus Southampton, 1-0 for Charleston scores the lone goal 9 minutes into the match. What is up with these Saints? It's not rhetorical. Answer the question.
You're going to get relegated.
Maybe next year.
Sheffield survive.
Yeah. Okay.
Could you imagine the story though? They would have to make a movie. 11 points, 26 games. In the last 12 games, they pull out and they win. I don't know, 9 of them, and they stay up.
Never pull out.
Who knows? I mean, for all we know, Amazon could be recording them right now.
Amazon's like, we already got this.
No,
got
it's
the script.
recording. You got this?
I think that's next year.
No. I think it's next year. Whatever, dude. Yeah,
Oh,
no, I
can't
mean,
wait.
Southampton have so many injuries. It's insane right now. Like, they're severely hit by the injury bug. That being said, I don't think they're.
Innings has given up on life.
Danny Ings has given up. That's true too. But I don't think that their I was gonna say stamina, but that's not the word I'm looking for. Their fitness levels aren't up to par with what Ralph Hasenhüttl wants them to do. Because the first half they always come out flying, they create chances, they win the ball back high, and then the second half they just fall flat on their face and they don't do anything. It's happened like 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I don't know what needs to change. I think they obviously need to get people back from injury, but it's like, do those people do enough to even like really impact you?
Does Ralph Hasenhüttl get fired at the end of the year?
No.
No. I think as long as they stay up, he's fine. But then if next year starts in the negative fashion that this year has,
Really? As high as they were? You don't think so?
No. Because I don't think it was as expected.
no. I think this thing is they got so high.
I feel like it's expected to get better than 16.
Well, they're in 14th right now. They could. All they have to do is put a couple games together, and they can climb back up to like between 10 to 12.
Yeah.
But
That's the other thing too. Is like the league itself is getting more competitive from the top to like 12. I'm not going to go top to bottom because we all know that's not true. But like City, United, Leicester, Chelsea, Liverpool, Everton, Tottenham, Villa, Arsenal, Leeds, Wolves, Southampton, and then even West Ham this year. Like, realistically, all of those teams you look at and think, like, okay, they could go out and win any game. And, I mean, after you get after that, it's like, whatever. They lose every game. Sheffield, except Newcastle, or Tottenham. But I think it's just the expectation of the team has to be a little bit tweaked because the competition has risen, and they started off so high that the drop was probably inevitable. It's just the injuries on top of it have really severely dropped them off.
Yeah. I say especially, losing, I think, Romeo for the rest of the season. It's really going to hurt them.
But if they finish like 17th, you still don't think?
I don't think they're going to drop that far. You'd have to drop below Burnley, Brighton, and Newcastle.
Even if they did, they're still up.
Doesn't say. I think as long as they survive, it's fine. But then it depends on what happens next year.
Yeah.
Like if they don't start off good, then he's probably out in the first month. Remember that
Also,
episode 26? I said that.
And then also, depending what they do over the summer, who they bring in, who they let out.
Yeah.
I mean, Guy, if Danny Ings leaves and they don't bring anyone, yeah, he might get fired first month.
Well, I was gonna say, he gets fired. Eddie Howe gets hired.
I just want Eddie Howe somewhere in the Premier League. I don't really care where it is.
Bold prediction for the end of the year.
There it is. You heard it here first, people. But yeah, that's all of our.
Props to Everton though. They're getting results.
They played 9 minutes, Mike. There's no fucking props.
No James still.
Who cares?
You bring the people
You're
the news.
Just saying. Doesn't matter.
Don't shoot the messenger, John.
I'm not shooting anyone. Not yet.
But that's all we got for this week's matches. Yeah.
Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like our post. Share it. Share it to your friends. Share it to your mother. Share it to your girlfriend, boyfriend, your
Not your
significant
father,
other.
though. Not your father.
Not your father.
The only dad we have here is Mr. Mount.
That is true. That is exactly true. Took the words right out of my mouth. But for those who are listening, we appreciate all the views that you give us. And if you have any comments, opinions, angry with anything you said, you might have 30 seconds or you have 500 character count limit. Say whatever you want. We're here.
Tweet it to us or leave a voicemail of a minute to 30 seconds. No, 30 minutes. 30 seconds to a minute.
It's not 30 minutes.
No, it's not 30 minutes. It's definitely not 30 minutes. 30 seconds to a minute. Drop it in our voicemail box, and we'll play it on here as we have in the past. We've updated our link in Instagram. If you go into our Instagram at From the Back Pod, the link will now bring you to a page where you can access all of our other accounts, whether it is Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram itself, Twitter, YouTube, because we're on YouTube now too. If you want to see
Snapchat for nudes.
Yeah, it's Mike's Snapchat. Send him nudes, especially if you're a dude. But yeah, no, seriously, it has all 5 links there. You can find us on Twitter at From the Back Pod or on Instagram. Click on the link in our bio, and it'll give you access to all of our accounts. You can go to those, subscribe to them, see what we got going on, see our episodes, everything. Anything else? Any last comments?
That's what she said.
Michael, sign us off.
I think it's always important to remember to keep it strictly bangers.